Okay, now we're live. We are live. It is 4:30 in the morning. This is Saturday morning. I just figured I'd come on and go over the tropics because I feel like it's important, especially right now. Um, so it is early Saturday morning. I believe today is the 5th. One second. Yes, today is the 5th, Saturday the 5th. So let me play an intro and I'll be right back. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's alive. Let's put it that way. Oh, let's go. Be right back. All right. So, like I said, I just wanted to come on. I put out a bulletin yesterday on the community page about the expectations of this system that's right down in here at the Bay of Campeche here. I say Bay of Campeche. I think it's actually pronounced Bay of Campeche, but I've always been saying Bay of Campeche, so we're going to keep it there. If you don't like it, oh well. All right. So let's get into it. I hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's uh doing well. I know there's a lot of people in especially Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, Georgia, Florida that need a lot of help. The won't get into that too much, but definitely thinking about those people right now. They need a lot of help. That area, especially the Blue Ridge Mountains, are beautiful, but this is a good good lesson that it can flood in the mountains and it will flood in the mountains. So thoughts are with those people. They need all the help they can get. Some of those communities out there are just completely devastated. It'll take years and years and years to get those places back to normal if they ever can be back to normal after that. Flooding like this happens probably once in a hey buddy. Hey Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, it's just awful. I'll go through some images of that, but I know I sent a little bit of money down there last week, I think for the Red Cross, but if I had enough money, I'd just go down there and help out. I just right now I have to work, so I can't do that. But anyways, let's get to what's going on in the tropics. Good to see you, Charlotte. Hope you're doing well. Um, but that's why I do these tropical updates, not to scare the shit out of people. It's just to, I knew it was going to be bad, especially in Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, because it had rained before the tropical storm Helene hit them. But before that, I mean, it's been a really dry summer, very warm, very dry. And every time you have that type of dryness over land, and then you start adding water to it, especially tropical water, um, the ground just doesn't absorb that, and it just runs off. And this is what happens when you have, a ton of water in a very short period of time, and it's being wind driven. And I did the Red Cross. I'm not trying to tell people to give money. It's nothing that I do. But like I said, if I had if I had my way, I'd just get in the car right now and drive down there and help. I just can't right now. I gotta work. So, but anyway, so it's good. Thank you for that. I mean, I feel bad. Those people will never be the same. It's it's hey buddy, necessarily evil's here. Good to see you. This is gonna affect you here. Um, um, all right, so let's get right to it. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Um, all right, so I'm gonna share uh, uh, this here. So this is what's going on across the country right now. Let's go here for a second. Um, Dense fog. Yeah, they got dense fog over there now. Uh, but this area here, Asheville, Knoxville, all of these places here, west, I would say west of Charlotte here, just literally got destroyed. There's beautiful mountains in here, but what happens, like I said, is when you get that amount of rain, especially tropical rain, in a very short period of time, the water's just got no place to go. And it's going to go wherever it's going to go. And, we know that it's really going to be hard to stop water. So yeah, we haven't seen it. The United States hasn't seen anything like this since Katrina. And even in Katrina wasn't a flood thing. It was more of a, I mean, it did flood, but it was more of a surge flood. This was just picture a mountain and just tons of water having, obviously gravity is going to take hold and it's going to take everything with it because it's running down a mountain. It's just, Louisiana is pretty flat. So it's, not saying Katrina wasn't bad. We haven't seen anything like this in, I think the last time something like this happened was in Pennsylvania. I think the flooding in Pennsylvania, that was back in, was that back in the 1900s, 1920, 1930, somewhere around there? Anyways, enough for me. So this is the map of the country right here. Let's go here. What am I doing? So this is, whoops. I don't want to do that. Let's go here. Short, right there we go, right there. So we'll first do, this is, so this is, hold on, let me do a color version here. Hold on a second. All right, so this is much better. Color version here. Make sure everybody can see that. Okay. Thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, I think I gave $100 or so like that. I'm going to try. Ian destroyed. Yeah, Ian was terrible. But Florida, Florida is one of those places where, people have seen hurricanes before. I'm not saying making light of it. It's just, once you've seen a hurricane, you've seen a few of them, you can kind of figure out how to, Florida, Florida doesn't have the, I've been to Florida millions of times. It doesn't have the dense tree populations like the, Appalachian chain here and that runs up and down the East Coast here. So, flooding is a big thing in Florida. It's a big, huge thing. But other than that, once the floodwaters recede back into the ocean, it's, Florida's one of those places where, it can rain and then the next day it's beautiful again. It's one of those things. But up in here in the mountains, man, you got big, huge oak trees that are flooding down the mountain, and I'll show you some pictures. It's pretty brutal. Right, so this is basically this is the 3-day forecast here. So today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, right? Day tomorrow, Monday. So this is going to be Monday, I think, here. Or Tuesday. This is Tuesday. October 8th. So, um, actually, let me go back here a second. I just got home from work, so let's do this here. This short range first. So this is today. This is right now, uh, and you have, you know, this is the country here. This is Texas, Florida. You have high pressure here right now. We're finally getting some rain here in New England, but that's going to be short lived. Pretty much dominated by high pressure here, which basically when you have high pressure it means it's going to be nice and clear. Maybe a little cooler, but clear. And then low pressure basically means there's something going on. So so right now there's nothing in the Gulf of Mexico. There's just clear skies basically. But if you watch this forecast here, let's go to the next day. Actually, look at this. I can loop this. Okay, so this is Saturday to Monday, and this is going to loop this change here. So if we go to tomorrow, let's do tomorrow. So now your high pressure here is starting to exit the coast here. And then we'll go to Sunday afternoon here. And you see this front right here, this dropping front here from this high pressure here. So this is going to be the problem. This is going to be, this system is not going to come up in here and take a left here up into Louisiana. So Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi here, they're going to be kind of out of the loop here. But if you watch this system here, you're going to start seeing this low pressure system start to creep into the central Gulf of Mexico here. But if you watch these high pressures here, it's basically pushing everything down here. So, and then you have a high pressure here off the East Coast here that's going to basically prevent anything from going this way. So we'll go to Monday. And now you see your low developing, right? So let's go. Let's get out of here. Hope everybody. Hey, Grandma Sherry, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, there was the 69. We got destroyed here in 38. I remember my father talking about the 38. We got it was either 38 or 36. 1936. We got a flood. Then we got a hurricane at 30. Hey, Big Fish, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, Ian was terrible. But I've seen a lot of shit, right? Flooding is bad. Flooding is, we get a lot of blizzards up here, a lot of snow, a lot of, but we've got Hurricane Irene up here in Vermont, and Hurricane Irene basically destroyed much of eastern Vermont. I mean, there's towns up there that are still not the same. It just completely flooded down, sides of the mountain. The problem with Vermont is, some of the roads up there go back to, horse and buggy times, and there's only one way in and one way out. So if your road washes out, there's no other way to get up there. There's no other road. A lot of other places you can kind of, if a road washes out, you can go around another road to get to there. But in Vermont, it's not like that. Either drive that road or take a plane, or it just there's no other way in there. So Irene was, and that's that's flooding. Flooding will do that. Flooding is a nightmare. It's going to take a long time to. All right, so let's go back to this here. I know a lot of these people like to come on and scare the living shit out of people, but I think it's important. All right, so let's go here. All right, so this, let me share my screen here. Hold on a second. I hope everybody's doing well, though. And there's no warning. It's not like you're going to get a flood warning. It's like that. Like there was no warning. I tried to tell people we're going to be, bad in Western North. I knew it was going to be bad in Western North Carolina, especially Eastern Tennessee. I mean, those mountains. Um, all right. So did I share this? Okay. Yeah. All right. So what happens here sometimes that these are the two other systems here. They're basically fish stories. I mean, they do interrupt shipping sometimes, but most of the shipping in the Atlantic is done, here. I mean, there's some shipping down in here, fishing stuff, but these are pretty. Kirk is a pretty good system. I mean, uh, but it's basically headed out to the open Atlantic and nothing coming from that. But it's a pretty impressive storm. It's definitely high cat 3, low cat 4 here. But it's not going to really affect anybody. It may create some ocean swells here, but by the time they get to the United States, the good news here on the eastern side of the country here is this high pressure here, and it's preventing this Bermuda high is kind of to the west a little bit this year. So anything that comes off the coast of Africa that tries to get to, especially the eastern part of Georgia, South Carolina here is being, kind of redirected by this high pressure here. So it's kind of going around, anything that comes off here is, unless it goes north like this here, it's going to kind of have to, it's not going to be able to hit the mainland United States here right now. So, but they're pretty impressive storms. Leslie is probably a hurricane now. Yep. And again, this one here, I mean, it's probably going to make a closer impact to maybe Bermuda here, but this one too, I think is going to kind of continue on this track. And once it gets over here into the open Atlantic here, it's going to kind of, the waters up here are not as warm as they are down, here. So it'll kind of dissipate, but it might send some sea swells here to Bermuda. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on this one a little bit, but mainly this is going to do the same thing that Kirk's going to do. All right. So let's go back here. This is the system here, though. So the latest advisory on this is 2 o'clock this morning, Eastern Daylight Time, Saturday. So recent satellite-derived wind data indicate that an area of low pressure located over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico is broad and ill-defined, but it's producing wind just below gale force. So just below, I think gale is like 25. The development of the system is expected, and a subtropical depression or storm is likely to form this weekend. Interest in the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, Bahamas, Florida Peninsula, Florida Keys, regardless of tropical or subtropical development, local heavy rains could occur. So right now they have this at within the next 48 hours, 50% chance of development, but the 7-day forecast is a little bit more frightening. It's 80%. So what happened with this system here is it kind of formed out here in the Pacific. And this has only happened that I know of a couple of times in my lifetime where they form over here in the Pacific. And then what happens is they kind of interact with the land mass here. And if they stay here long enough, some of this might pass over into the Gulf of Mexico here in the Bay of Campeche here and create its own center of circulation because of this what they call the gyre here. This time of the year, there's a big low pressure system here that just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And with that spin counterclockwise, anything that kind of forms over in here has a really good chance of creating its own type of what they call like not a circulation, but another area of low pressure here. And right now, it's not really down at the surface. It's kind of more just a disorganized system of clouds here. But once it starts to drift over into a more favorable environment here into the middle part of the Gulf of Mexico, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing more of like a center of circulation in here because this front that's dropping down here is going to try to help that. And then you have your high pressure here, which is, clockwise. This could form. So let's go here to let's take a look at the. Can I get it visible? You think? Nope. Just a little bit, so we can get a look at this is right here. This is that is Leslie right there, right? So that looks pretty good. Um, but it's still too dark to get a visible of. Let me get out of here. We'll go. This is better. So this is a geo color here, and there is Kirk. It looked a lot better yesterday, but it's still pretty good. Definitely a defined eye there. But once it starts migrating up in here, these cooler waters here, it's just going to get shredded by cooler water temperatures, more shear from this system that's passing to its west here. You can already see some of that shear shearing off these cloud tops here to the north of this system here. But once it gets up into these cooler waters here, it'll probably become extra tropical, meaning it's going to lose a lot of that tropical moisture once it gets into these cooler waters here. So this is nothing. This is basically just a shipping concern here. And there's Leslie there. That's a hurricane. That'll probably hit major hurricane status within the next couple of days or so. But again, this is going to kind of go this way here and then curve out, I think. This system here, though, this is the problem. And that is it right there. There's a couple of areas. There's this little area here, which is coming off of this gyre here. But this system here, right in here, we're starting to see some, disorganized thunderstorm activity around here. This one here. I'll show you the tracking here fairly shortly, but this system here, I don't think is going to be all that impressive once it gets moving here. I think this is just going to fizzle out. But right now, it's just associated with this broad area low pressure here. So this is, but this whole season has been a Gulf of Mexico season. It's once things get into this Gulf of Mexico here, all bets are off this year, man. The Gulf of Mexico this year is just. I hope everybody's doing well, though. Yeah, don't die. Nobody die. I'm glad some people are in here. Pimp slapped by the stoop. Let me get rid of my face. All right. Very good. All right. So let's take another look at this stuff here. But you see this up here. This is a high pressure here. This is the, you notice there's nothing in here. And that's this high pressure here that's preventing anything from coming across here and going normally to the Carolinas. Normally this high pressure here, the Bermuda high, is up more over in this area here. So these systems that come off the coast can kind of skirt by that and go around it. But that's not happening this year. Everything in the Atlantic is basically just being blocked by this high pressure. That's good. We don't need any more water here along the coastline. But this system here, let's take a better look at this We'll go to the Gulf of Mexico here. All right, so here's the Gulf of Mexico here. And there's just nothing in here right now. It's just a lot of cloudy. It seems like it's trying to, you know, create an area of, you know, broad low pressure here, but there's nothing really uh, down at the surface. Everything's kind of pluming up to the top, way up. Uh, and then this system here. See, there's another area of broad low pressure here, counterclockwise. All right, so let's go to. So this is the water vapor. This is what I go by. This is my baby here because I can see things a little bit better. So anywhere where you see orange is dry air. Obviously, anywhere where you see green or white is tapping. This image here is tapping anything that's creating moisture in the atmosphere. So, and this is the mid level. So let's go up a layer here first. So this is way up, and you can see, this system here is higher up right now. If anything's going on, it's going on higher up. But this is going to dictate this area here when it starts to drop here is going to dictate what happens with this here. But it's not going to be able to go this way, So Texas is, you may get some rain from this, but Texas is out, Louisiana's out. Mississippi and Alabama, pretty much. This system here is going to be if you live, I'd say from the Big Bend down to the southwestern part of Florida, even the islands here. This is going to be a problem. It's going to create a lot of rain here, a lot of moisture here down inside, west to east. So let's go down another layer here. So now we go down a layer here, and this is the riding over this ridge here. There's a ridge right here. It's getting a little bit of shear here from this dry air here. But once this moves out, this system here is going to move out. And this is going to be free to take a drive east over here. Because there's really nothing that's prohibiting this from taking a right here, going east. So let's go down. So this is down at the surface here. So you have dry air here out to the east of this. See, this is creating some shear here to this. You can see it. And there's some dry air trying to get in here. But depending on how cocooned this is, it might not be able to get into this system here. But all of this yellow stuff is going to take a right here. It's going to basically drift this way here. Here's your convection here. So there's, it's not defined. There's no, you don't see like a wrapping here. It's a bunch of convection here, but there's no, there's no circulation yet. because it's being prevented from doing anything from the system to the west and this area here of dry air. So it's once you see some of these, you know, clouds kind of tailing off here and circulating around it, that's when you're going to start seeing some circulation. But this is probably not going to happen until it gets out into here. So let's go back here. Hope everybody's with me. No, we ain't getting rid of necessary evil. Like I said, people in Florida have seen this before. This is nothing new to people in Florida. It doesn't make it easier. It's just, they uh, Floridians are a different breed of people. They're used to stuff like this here. All right, so let's go back. I want to go to forecast track here. Uh, Actually, let's take a look at the water temperatures here first. All right. They're probably going to send a hurricane hunter down in here at some point, either today or tomorrow. I don't know if they have anything scheduled. Because all of these plots and plans, all of these computer models, they're really not going to do anything until there's, once you get a center of circulation, then the computer models will really dictate a better forecast. But when there's no center of circulation, it's just, they just put in a whole bunch of plottings from buoys and ships, and then they try to get an estimate of what's going to happen. So things can change. So this is the water temperatures here. And what you were hoping for with Helene was, this kind of formed down here. And once Hurricane Helene got past, I would say the Yucatan Peninsula here, it really took off. But what you hope that these systems do is they sit over water for a long time. And what that does is it upwells the water itself. It starts to cool off. Because right now, the temperatures in here are still, especially in this area where our system is, fairly warm. But what happens is if they sit over water for a long period of time, it'll actually bring up the cooler water from below the surface of the Gulf of Mexico, and it'll actually cool off the water. So if say you have 86-degree water temperature here, and you have a system that stays over there for 3 or 4 days, it'll actually start to cool off. It'll drop it back down to 83, 82, 81. And that will prohibit any storms that come after it from really, rapidly intensifying. But that didn't happen. So right now in this, general area here from, say, middle of the Southern Atlantic Ocean all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, you have this warm, tropical, perfect water for these things to just, it's the fuel they need. And if there's nothing prohibiting it from forming, it's just going to, what they call rapidly intended, it's just going to create a monster. And not saying that's going to happen in this one here, but it's possible because this water here is still really warm. So let's go to an anomaly here. So you're still 2 over here, you're 1 over here. So this is still, it's cooling off a little bit here in the, western, northwestern part of the Gulf. But that's only because of this dry air that we just saw here. So it's kind of, cooling these waters off. But over here in the eastern and middle part of the Gulf of Mexico, this is still pretty solid. This is 80, 85, 86, some spots here, 87, especially when you get close to the coast. So there's plenty of fuel there. This is a table here of temperatures. So, all right, so let's let's go to what they got. I just was over here earlier. So we're going to check out a storm track here. We're going to do, first we'll do, uh, I can't get the latest yet, so, but we'll go back a couple hours here. We'll do the single model here. This is the GFS. It's not available right now. So there we go. All right, so I'll do this is a single model here from the GFS. That's the American model here. And like I said, this is just kind of like this is like a big guesstimate. So we'll stop this here. So today is this is from today to, and this is Sunday at I think that's 6 in the morning, 30-hour forecast. So there's our system right there. Slower, much slower. So this is Monday. This is the 54-hour forecast. So Monday, they have this at some sort of a center of circulation here. When you get that circle there, that means that's probably a circulation here. If you look at Kirk here, this is major hurricane. These circles indicate that it's a center of circulation here. So let's go ahead a little bit. But this is Monday morning. So they have this as a depression, I think, or at least this is the 66-hour forecast. And what this is doing is this front here is really bending this down a little bit. But once this front starts to lift up to the north, you'll see this really start to take off. So there you got that pink right there. I think is indicative of either a depression or a storm. So this is Tuesday, the 8th, and you'll see this still bending down from this front here. And there you go. So this is going to be, at this point, probably a tropical storm, I would think. And this is Tuesday evening here. So Tuesday evening, this is Wednesday morning here. So Wednesday morning here. But like I said, if you're in Texas, is out of the loop here, and I don't think this is going to be a bayou storm here. And there you go. Let me go back to my page here. Yes. So what happens inside of a hurricane is a massive system, right? So you have your eye wall, you have your center of circulation, but inside the circulation that rotates counterclockwise, you have your thunderstorm heads. Inside those thunderstorm heads, you have what they call vortices, or anytime you have a cluster of high cloud tops, vortices, what they consider to be like a thunderhead. Inside those thunderheads down towards the surface, sometimes you can get a circulation because there's a circulation already in the system. So hurricanes are notorious, especially on what they call the dirty side of the hurricane, which is your eastern side of the hurricane, especially east south. so east, south side of the hurricane. Once that starts to lift and wrap and turn, that's when you can get your tornadoes. Doesn't always happen, and it doesn't have to be a hurricane. I've seen tornadoes spin up in tropical storms too. So this one probably won't happen as much because it's probably going to go, west to east pretty quickly. It's when they go, when they start at the southern part of Florida, then they travel up like the last one did. A 35 it's using I'm using forecasting lingo. It's basically just the eastern side, especially the northeastern side of a hurricane is probably the worst. Hey, curious, how are you, buddy? Is usually the most dangerous side of the hurricane. Like if you were going to be in any side, you probably want to be western side of an eye wall, but that too. The western side of the eye wall is where the flooding happens, because you're getting all of that circulation and energy and the water, and now you have on the western side a north wind blowing the flooding down to you. That sucks. Terrible. All right, so let's go to another one here. Yeah, it's Florida. All right, so let's go back. Let's do this one here. So this is basically the ensembles here. And this is a whole bunch of different computer models that are trying to figure out where this is going to go. And again, nobody knows where this is going to go yet. So this is just preliminary, like forecasting. They don't even have a center of circulation here yet. So these are just, what they do is they try to take buoys, and they have buoys all over this, Gulf of Mexico here, shipping out here, any type of aircraft that's flying out here. They'll give, wind speeds, wind directions, and that's how they get these computer models right now. But once a center of circulation forms, they can really, they're close enough to land here where they can get, aircraft hunter in here and, drop some, better plotting in here to get, a better forecast. But right now, this is preliminary, but from different fronts that are going to be happening here in the United States and this high pressure that's off the coast of America here, this is going to be pretty accurate. I don't think Texas is going to be in this. I don't think Louisiana. This is going to be a typical west to east, system here, if anything. So if you're in the Big Bend here and you're all the way down, like say you live in the Big Bend here from where's this, Gainesville here, down to even as far south as the Keys here, and it could basically come and skirt right through Cuba here and head back out to sea because there's the high pressure here. So it's going to go where this high pressure isn't. But what's going to happen with the high pressure here? It's going to start drifting off to the east here a little bit. And that's what's going to cause this to go this way, I think. But we'll see. All right, so this is a combination here. So here we are, this Sunday morning again here. Now, like I said, this is a whole bunch of different computer models here. This is probably like, get off of me. Probably like 30, 40 different models here. So let's slow this down here. Can I zoom this? Yeah, there we go. Whoops. Okay, better. This is better. So this is Sunday afternoon here. Here's that front here. So if you follow this solid line here, this is the consensus, right? These are the more, I don't want to say accurate models, but this is the more likely path here. And some of these other models here, try to do weird things in here, but that purple line here, that's the consistency of the forecast. So that's what I would keep an eye on here is this. Um, so now we are Tuesday in the afternoon here. So they have this kind of as a tropical system here, but then you notice here this run of forecast here is telling me that this is going to dissipate a little bit here, back down to maybe tropical storm. So here it may be a little bit stronger than it is here on Tuesday afternoon. So it's which is good, but then it takes. Now it's back here. This is Wednesday. So if you live in Iberia here, this Kirk here is going to be a problem for. This is going to be a pretty good size ocean storm here for some of these Western European. Look at this thing. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing. That's not good. Look at this. All right, so let's get back to it. So this is what is this? This is Wednesday. This is Wednesday afternoon. Look at this. This is gonna. Wow. There's going to be a problem for some of these our European neighbors here. Are you anywhere near that, Charlotte? Oh shit! We're trying to keep up on the comments here. Good to see you, Curious. Um, you must work nights too. Are you anywhere near that, Charlotte? That area? I don't think so. This is probably where is this? This is the Bain here, right? This is I'll go back in a second here. Hold on a second. Okay, so here we are. This is Wednesday night here, and these models have this coming up this way here, more northern than the other one did, and then basically just this makes a lot more sense because here's your high pressure here, so it's going to go up and around that, and this will probably be like a day event here. So it's going to come up and just go across Florida and then out to sea and then nothing. Look at this. This is bad. And there's, I think that's Leslie right there. So by Thursday, this thing's out of here. So, I mean, that's right now. Could change. This is the Gulf of Mexico, so anything's possible. Anything can happen in the Gulf of Mexico. But it looks like right now, with a lot of these different fronts that are dropping here in the country here, and this high pressure here, this looks pretty accurate in my opinion. So, are you east? Are you Western England or are you more Eastern England? Because this is going to be Kirk is going to be a pretty solid storm. This will be an ocean storm by the time it gets here, but this is going to be because here's Africa. This is mainland Europe here. All right. So, anyways, let's go back. Sorry, Wendy. I'm in Dunes training my new boy Stanley. Yeah. All right. So what am I doing? I'm gonna go here. So this here. Hold on a second. No, this is Saturday. This is the. So this is the temperature stuff here. So this is. I want to go. Go to region. Let's do Alabama here. So it's still fairly warm here. Like this is not good either because obviously the warmer the land temperature is here, the less likely you're going to get dry air. So it's still 80s. Some places high 80s. Let's go to region. Let's go to Florida. Obviously, it's going to be warm in Florida, but yeah, this cooled out. Helene kind of cooled off some of these temperatures in here, but still 90, 89, 89, 91. It's really warm here, so this is not good. If it stays like that for the next couple of days. All right, so let's do some pictures, shall we? So that's the thing. If you live, let me go back to this here. If you live, say you live Panama City down from Panama City, Tallahassee, Cedar Key, which just got hit, so that wouldn't be good if they got another one. Even as far south, I would say as Naples here, I'd keep an eye on this system here because this is probably going to be the target zone of this one. But the good news is it looks like it's going to just slam right through and get out of here in a day. So it's not going to, it's not going to stay on here for long periods of time. And the consensus on how strong this storm is going to be is kind of out right now. But I prepare for at least a strong tropical storm, even maybe a small, category hurricane. But I'm telling you, man, I've been watching these storms in the Gulf for years and years and years, and anything is freaking possible, especially with these ocean temperatures here. So let's go to. All right, so we're going to go check in with some of the professionals here. All right, so let this guy kind of like here. This was 9 hours ago. Let's do this one here. All right. Let me share this here. Naples, Florida is one, especially, is it New Naples or Old Naples? I forget now. It's not the rich one. It's the poor one. So that's Old Naples. I love Naples, Florida. It's so fantastic. White sands. Not for swimming though. Like if you go there for swimming, it's not gonna help. Let me share this here. All right. So this is a professional, not me. So this guy here is pretty decent here. This is coming out of KHOU 11. I think he's out of Florida. No, this is Texas, I think. So let's So we're kind of going downhill here with the peak. The peak season is usually the second to third week in September, and then things drop off quite a bit once you get into October normally. Then there's a little bit of another peak, kind of what they call a November peak season here. But then it just kind of fizzles out. So, uh, but this year here, I wouldn't pay attention to any of this. But let's go.
Okay, tropical update here on a Friday. We've got a spot in the Gulf that's now becoming likely to develop over the weekend and early next week. So I'm going to give you a complete update on that. First of all, September 10th is the statistical peak. We've been dropping off since then, but notice how the month of October, we kind of have this secondary peak. So things can get busy in October.
The problem with Florida, though, it's gotten better, is the coffee. Like the coffee years ago, coffee in Florida sucked. But I've always said, if you're sitting, like in my drinking days, if you're sitting on a beach with white sands and a beach chair and a little umbrella, if you're drinking coffee, you're not doing it right. You gotta like the margarita with the little umbrella with the little. That's how you really enjoy white sands, right there.
And they are actually quite busy out there right now. Names list, we're more than halfway through. We've got Kirk and Leslie out there in the open Atlantic right now.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were only at Francine. And then Gordon was kind of like a preemptor till we got to Helene, right? Gordon kind of, I don't know why they even have this up here because I don't even think it was much of anything. But then it really picked up here. You had a Cat 4, Cat 1, now you had a Cat 3. Leslie's probably going to be a Cat 2, a Cat 3. So it's within the last couple of weeks here, it's really picked up.
In the Gulf, Milton is the next name on the list, and I think it's likely now that it becomes a tropical storm Milton, maybe a Cat 1 hurricane Milton in the Gulf as we head through the weekend and early next week. Big picture, first of all, out in the open Atlantic, Kirk, a Cat 4 now.
You guys are all awesome. Tonight, early tomorrow morning, I'll be doing the true crime stuff. We're going to go over some of the true crime cases of the week, the missing cases of the week, and then we're going to get into the whole I shot the sheriff judge thing. That's so weird. It's like bizarre people these days, man. Look at this. This will be still 60-mile-an-hour system here heading into lower England here. Even Ireland here. This is going to be a big system here. This is going to be, it's definitely not going to be a Cat 4, Cat 3, Cat 2, but this will be a big ocean storm here.
Will rapidly move into the North Atlantic and weaken as it heads toward Europe. And then Leslie will become a Cat 1 following Kirk's footsteps. Neither of those threaten the United States. There's another spot near the Cape Verde Islands that has a 20% chance for development. But what's on the front burner here in Houston and the Gulf is this area. We've been watching it all week long, but now Hurricane Center says it's a 70% chance that we do see this develop into a named system.
This whole area here has been a hotbed all year. The first one, what the hell was the first one's name? Beryl? Remember Beryl? It was a tropical wave here in the Atlantic, and it just kind of fizzled out, obviously, in the Caribbean. But then it passed over the Yucatan Peninsula and became a pretty strong hurricane. So this has been the active zone this season here. That most of the stuff's come right from here, the Bay of Campeche, and that's because these waters are just so freaking warm down here.
As we head through the weekend and into early next week. However, for Houston and the west side of the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, it's so good to see Karen Lee. Oh, it's good to see you, Karen. Glad you're okay. Are you all right? It's good to see Karen Lee in here. been worried about you over there, and I hope you're okay.
It looks like we will only see minimal impacts here, as what is going to develop here is most likely going to be moving toward Florida. So Florida residents, get ready. You've had rain the past week, and you're going to see a whole lot more of it as that system develops and heads your way. Computer model, this is the
There's going to be a messy Gulf of Mexico the next couple of days, because there's a lot of moisture here in the Gulf, and it's not just this system here. There's this front dropping here too, so it's pushing all of this down. But this southern gyre here is really kicking up a lot of shit here.
Euro, but it's representative of the Canadian and the American model. We go into Sunday. So notice how by
The European model is usually the more accurate, but this year here, the American model has been pretty close. But I always go by the European model, especially early in prediction stuff. But again, these are estimates because there's no center of circulation right now. So this is just basically taking all of these different, systems that are moving down from the country, and this stuff here and all of this gyre stuff down here. So this is pretty accurate, but the Gulf of Mexico is so unpredictable, man. It's just, especially with the intensities.
Sunday, we've got this closed low. Maybe it's a tropical depression at that point. It's not very compact, but it's getting its act together here by Sunday afternoon.
Oh, good. It just missed you. That's good news. Far east. Good for you. That's awesome. I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was, especially. I mean, if people have never been to Western North Carolina or Eastern Tennessee, I mean, it's arguably one of the most beautiful places on the planet. The mountains up there are just so just breathtaking. You can go up there. Matter of fact, I did when we did the case on I forgot her name now. That's where we were. We were at Andrews Bald up there at the the Great Smoky Mountains there. So, but when it floods, they're not so nice. But I did send some money down there. If I didn't have to work, I'd get in my car right now and go down there and try to help out, because those people are just, their lives have been ruined, literally ruined.
What that does as the circulation becomes a little more organized is it pulls the rain toward it, and we end up getting more dry air coming in on a northeasterly flow in Houston. So our rain chances here are only slight on Saturday and about zero on.
Yeah, see, this system that's dropping here is kind of protecting, Texas, Louisiana coastline. But this system, once it lifts, is going to pull this system with it.
Sunday, even though we've got a system developing here in the Gulf. Now, watch how this moves to the east and takes all this rain with it over toward Florida. There's the system getting better organized. You can see it's more compact now. Maybe a tropical storm, maybe a Cat 1 hurricane as it heads toward Florida as we head into Tuesday night and Wednesday. So this overall will be a rainmaker for Florida, but also dangerous surf and seas, and maybe some strong tropical storm or Cat 1 hurricane winds. On the backside of that circulation, Houston, Galveston, we get this northerly flow. And what that is going to do is bring in a slug of much drier air for the middle of the week. And what that means for Houston and the west side of the Gulf of Mexico is that we dry out. Now, we're still humid with lows in the low 70s through Sunday, Monday, even into Tuesday. But by Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, the result of that circulation is that we get cooler air in the morning because the humidity is going to drop. That's where we stand with the tropics and the Gulf as we head into the weekend. Make sure you're watching the weather once a day over the weekend in case things start to change, and we'll keep you posted as we move through what is a busy start to October in the tropics.
All right, so let's go here to this guy here.
Business. If we have something coming our way next week, do we have any indications? What's the best information on how strong this might be?
I mean, I love the mountains too. Mountains are great, but we have plenty of mountains here. I don't need to see any more mountains. But there, there's uh, uh, once you've been up there, right? Like, because most people go to the Carolinas for the beaches, right? You go to Carolinas for the beaches, but um, the mountains are they have their own beauty. It's a beautiful sky, blue sky here and sunshine. Incredibly gusty though. Yeah, it was a little bit north. Helene kind of was a little bit north of Naples, but Cedar Key got hit again. So it's like they just got hit last year by Ophelia. So it's just when you start digging out from one, you get another one. They've had especially northwestern Florida's been like the last few years just hurricane after hurricane after hurricane.
Might be.
Well, it's important to stress that we don't have any kind of organized area of intense low pressure right now. So what you might see on your Facebook page is a lot of fluctuations in the forecast models. But I think as we move through the weekend, we will get a much better idea as to exactly how strong something was going to be. So with this in mind, there is not going to be a very long timeline with this. As if something is going to come our way that would bring more of a wind threat, it's likely going to be on our doorstep as early as like Tuesday and Wednesday. So that's why it's really important that you don't unplug this weekend and make sure you stay up on the twists and turns that may come our direction over the next 3 days. Big story here is active weather in the next week. The first thing that will impact you would be higher than normal rain chances starting Sunday and then lingering into early next week. The second threat that we may have to be more concerned about next week would be any kind of wind or storm surge threat, as that's when we may have something coming together from the Gulf of Mexico that would move our direction. Now, the timeline does not include any bad weather tomorrow. If you have to do something outdoors tomorrow to clear out a drain or to cover up debris from the last storm or do some kind of tree business from a tree that was damaged during the last hurricane, tomorrow is your day, because we do not expect a region-wide severe weather at all tomorrow, as in fact the first half of the day is very dry, and then as we
Oh, have a good day, Charlotte. Sorry, I didn't see that. You're awesome, Charlotte. Thank you so much for coming in. Charlotte's always it's always good to have you here. Have a great week. Stay safe, Charlotte. Charlotte's awesome.
move toward the afternoon and the evening, overall, the rain coverage looks pretty isolated. So things are just fine for you tomorrow if you have to get outdoors and do some prep work out ahead of the heavy rain first, and then the possibility of a wind threat later on in the week. Right now, the center of where we would likely place the starting line of this feature is about 942 miles to the southwest of the city of Cape Coral. Now, out and ahead of this feature, again, remember that's in the southwestern corner of the Gulf of Mexico, there's a big surge of tropical moisture out ahead of us. So before any kind of wind threat was to move toward our area, this tropical air mass is going to help to juice up the atmosphere. So at times when it does rain, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, expected to come down locally heavily. It's the wind threat I think most of us are most concerned about, and that's understandable when you think about how the National Hurricane Center has been responding to the trends in the forecast data. Chances of development now are up to 70% over the next 7-day window. And when you look at the environment that this possible system is going to move across, there's reasons for us.
Hey, look at this. This is all like really juicy water in here. And like I said earlier, we were hoping that Helene would kick up some of these waters here and cool them down. And it did a little bit, but it didn't really stay over open water very long. Once it got past the Yucatan Peninsula here, it just kind of barrel-assed up into the, panhandle here. But if it would have stayed over this water a little bit longer, it would have upwelled this water a little bit and cooled it down. But look at this. It's still, you're talking 86, 87 temperatures here, especially down in this area here. So if this system does develop, it's going to have a lot of moisture, a lot of, fuel here.
For us to watch it very closely. Despite the fact that Hurricane Helene was a big hurricane, it really didn't do much of a dent in terms of water temperatures, as on a water temperature anomaly map, all the areas that are shaded in dark orange and red show you areas of the Gulf of Mexico with above average water temperatures for today's date. When you look at the wind shear setup, there is a lot of wind shear right now across the northern tier of the Gulf of Mexico, but there's
That's from that front that's going to drop this dry air here. Here's your Bermuda High out here to the west, to the east of this Florida Peninsula here. So, it's going to have to kind of go up and around this. But if this high pressure behind this guy's head here, I think this high pressure here is going to kind of drift off to the east a little bit, allowing this system to kind of come up like this here, stay away from this, front here. And this front will actually pick this up and kind of take it out around this high pressure here. But
there's not very much wind shear at all down here in the southern Gulf of Mexico. So if this area of low pressure is able to start organizing, it will likely have an environment that would allow it to strengthen and also move in the direction of Florida because of some of those stronger upper level winds that are present right now across the Gulf of Mexico. This map here shows you a couple of forecast models. So the first one we're going to walk through together is what the American forecast model is suggesting. And I'll reference the time here, Monday night, likely showing perhaps a tropical storm at that point in time. And notice how it continues to move in the direction of Florida. Now, right now, the current thinking of the European forecast model would be a situation that would be a bad one for us, because this would mean more wind for our area and also a storm surge.
yeah, I was worried about Karen. And I haven't been able to get on Manimals chat, so but I'm glad you're okay.
Threat, considering how the winds will be moving around the storm. The current thinking of the American forecast model also pushes it toward Florida, but as a weaker system. So if this kind of scenario was to play out, there wouldn't be as much wind and there wouldn't be as much of a storm surge threat, but there would still be some bouncy weather around here as we move toward the middle parts of the work week. Either way, regardless of how much wind is going to come our direction next week, we need to be prepared for the possibility of flooding, as the data continues to suggest that over the next 7 days, we're talking region-wide amounts of 5 to 7 inches in our area. We talked earlier during the news about how saturated the ground is right now in our area. So it's not going to take a terribly large amount of water to cause flooding. And that looks to be the prime case for us on Monday. If we are going to see wind or storm surge impacts based on the data right now, the day that looks most likely is Tuesday. But again, a lot of moving parts with this forecast. So please do stay updated with our team.
Yeah, I just, if you, like I said, if you live, I would say south of Gainesville, even down towards Naples, I would keep an eye on this, because the Gulf of Mexico is notorious for surprises. But I don't think it's going to be like a major hurricane, so you don't have to worry about that, I don't think. But I wouldn't sleep on it, that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm glad everybody came in. I just wanted to give an update on the tropics tonight. Early morning, I'm going to go into this freaking madman. I don't know what's going on, but the guy from Kentucky here, the sheriff, I don't know why he's pleading not guilty, but and then we're going to get into, obviously, the true crimes of the week, try to go over the missing person case of the week, and might do another tropics update. Well, good to see you, Karen. Very good to see you. Definitely worried about you the last couple of days for sure. People, like I said, people in those areas need a lot of help. I know like I said, I'd get in my car right now and drive down there if I could. But I did send some money down there last week, and I might send another little bit this week coming up here. I always go to trusted sources though, like the Red Cross. There's other places to go, but they definitely need help. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for coming in. I'll be on probably 12:30ish early tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll see you guys there. Everybody stay safe today. good to see everybody. Big Fish, Karen Lee, Necessarily Evil was in here. Charlotte's awesome. Big Fish, Small Pond. Did I say that already? Yeah. All right. So I'll get out of here. You guys take it easy and have a good day. Thank you.